Jayo asmi vayavasayo asmi Sattvam sattvavatamaham Dutyam chalyatamasmi Tejas tejasvinamaham Jayo asmi vayavasayo asmi Sattvam sattvavatamaham. What words know? Translation and purport by Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Dyuttam, gambling. Chalyatam, of all cheats. Asmi, I am. Teja, splendid. Tejasvinam, of everything splendid. Aham, I am. Jayaha, victory. Asmi, I am. Vayavasayaha, adventure. Asmi, I am. Sattvam, strength. Sattvatam, Sattvavatam, of all the strong. Aham, I am. Gambling of all cheats, I am splendid, of everything splendid. I am victory, I am adventure, I am strength, of all the strong, I am. Translation. I am also the gambling of cheats, and of the splendid, I am the splendor. I am victory, I am adventure, and I am the strength of the strong. Perfect. There are many kinds of cheaters all over the universe. Of all cheating processes, gambling stands supreme and therefore represents Krishna. As the supreme, Krishna can be more deceitful than any mere man. If Krishna chooses to deceive a person, no one can surpass him in his deceit. His greatness is not simply one-sided, it is all-sided. Among the victorious, he is victory. He is the splendor of the splendid. Among enterprising industrialists, he is the most enterprising. Among adventurers, he is the most adventurous. And among the strong, he is the strongest. When Krishna was present on earth, no one could surpass him in strength. Even in his childhood, he lifted Govardhan Hill. No one can surpass him in cheating. No one can surpass him in splendor. No one can surpass him in victory. No one can surpass him in enterprise. And no one can surpass him in strength. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, first point is here is that Krishna is saying that I am also gambling of cheats. So, gambling is the supreme cheating process. In gambling, people get cheated in such a way that they can lose everything and still hope next time they will win. Actually, a long time ago when I was working in a hotel, there was a Chinese old person at workplace and he used to work as a cleaner. But he was very addicted to gambling. In casino, there is a big casino in Oakland. He lost everything, his business, his family, everything. And now, whatever he was earning, straight, he used to go to casino and lose that also. He's just hoping one day he will get jackpot. And casino gave him a VIP pass. There he used to just drink and eat and just sit there and play. So he just spent his life in there. So gambling is a cheating which takes away everything. Whatever is supreme, that is Krishna. So among cheating, gambling is supreme. So this represents Krishna, as Srila Prabhupada explained. Another point is that Krishna is supreme cheater also. There are so many instances in Mahabharata when Krishna deceived, like convincing Yudhishthira Maharaj to tell Ashwathama has died, although it was an elephant, getting killed of Jayadratha by Arjun, deceiving Duryodhan in the end when he wanted to go naked before his mother, and again helping Bhima to kill Duryodhan in fight. Similarly, Lord Ram also killed Bali by deceiving him by getting Sugriva to fight with him. But in all this, one thing is that when Lord does cheating, it benefits others. And when we cheat, it harms ourselves. So we all have like cheating propensity, but where does it come from? Where this propensity comes from? It comes from Krishna, because everything comes from Krishna. Nothing is outside of Krishna. But in Krishna, it is in perfect form. And in ourselves, it is perverted. So that's why when Krishna cheats, so it benefits others. And it's, as Srila Prabhupada also mentioned here, that it is all side. His greatness is not simply one-sided, it is all-sided. So, and the next point is Krishna is the power of powerful or splendid. That he said that splendid, I am the splendor, Teja. So when we follow regulative principles and sincerely follow devotional service, we get Teja, which is the opulence of Krishna. When we see Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada, we can see Teja in their face. Devotional service changes our appearance also. When we forget Krishna, we lose our Teja. We lose our bodily luster, and we lose everything really. But when we remember Krishna, doing chanting and following processes of bhakti, our appearance changes also. I remember His Grace Amrish Prabhu always given the example that before coming to Krishna consciousness, we look like a different, like animals. But devotional service gives us this stage, and devotee looks different from others or karmis. So this is the opulence of Krishna. And next point is victory. The Supreme Lord is always victorious. When we start any project or journey, we always remember our Guru and Krishna, which is assurance of victory. Actually, any work done under the guidance of Guru, Shishya Parampara, and dedicated to the service becomes auspicious and victorious. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18.78, verse 78, the last verse says that Yatra Yogeshwaraha Krishna, Yatra Partha Dhanurdharaha, Tatra Shrihi Vijayo Bhuti Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama. Translation: wherever there is Krishna, the master of all mystics, and wherever there is Arjun, the supreme archer, there will be also certainly be opulence, victory, extraordinary power, and morality. That is my opinion. So this is the point here, that Krishna, the victory is Krishna. So when we under the guidance, or when we remember Krishna, everything will be victorious. So, and the next point is Krishna is saying that I am adventure. Now people do many adventure activities to satisfy their senses. They go for adventure trips or do some other activities which gives them thrill. But real adventure is when we put down everything for Krishna. The biggest example is Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada went on adventure trip to America in age of 69. When you are old and want to stay at one place into comfort of your house, in that age, Srila Prabhupada went to America and established Krishna consciousness movement in West. Actually, devotee of Krishna risk everything for Krishna because he is 100% dependent on Krishna, which is the strength of a devotee. So this is the last point where Krishna is saying that I am the strength of the strong. Physical strength comes from eating healthy food, but in reality, strength comes from Krishna. Krishna is present as Paramatma in every living being. So all the health and strength come from Krishna. If Paramatma doesn't wake us up in the morning, we cannot wake up. Guru Maharaj says that. So we that is the illusion, that is the Maya that will get us bodily strength, whatever. Because if Paramatma uh, wish that we won't wake up, then we won't wake up. All that strength is gone. It's useless. It's nothing. So he's a strongest of the strong. Like he's the strength of the strong. So these all the points that I realized from this verse from Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you, Amrish Prabhu. Thank you, Purnapagi Devi Dasi Mataji, and thank you, Krishna Prabhu, for your support and encouragement and getting us hooked up to Krishna consciousness. So, my relation, Dyutam Chalayatam Asmi Tejas Tejasvi Nam Aham Jayo Asmi Vyavasayo Asmi Sattvam Sattvatam Aham. I am also the gambling of cheats and of the splendid, I am the splendor. I am victory, I am adventure, and I am the strength of the strong. So thank you, Sanjeev Prabhu, for defining each and every quality which Krishna is telling Arjuna as his opulence, that what he is. So in the purport, Prabhupada writes a couple of points which struck me. One is that, which probably we all very familiar about Krishna, his greatness is not simply one-sided, it is all-sided. So it's a statement which we can read and forget, but this is actually reminds me of the Bhagavatam seed verse, that 2:9:35, Canto 2, Chapter 9, verse number 35. Only that is on the much broader scale, but the concept is same. Yatha mahanti bhutani bhuteshu Chavacheshvanu pravishtani apravishtani tathateshu na tesoham. O Brahma, please know that the universal elements enter into the cosmos and at the same time do not enter into the cosmos. Similarly, I myself also exist within everything created and at the same time I'm outside everything. So that's the first thing which came to my mind, that Krishna is everywhere. And it is only a devotee who can see Krishna in all those things, what Krishna is telling himself. And the other thing which comes to my mind is that how impersonalists can misunderstand this if they are not devotee. So that's why its devotee association is very important, and that too are a bona fide devotee. Now, the other point which Sanjeev Prabhu defined about adventure, Vyavasaya is adventure. And in the purport, Prabhupada writes, among enterprising industrialists, he is the most enterprising, most adventure. Among adventure, he is the most adventurous. And among the strong, he is the strongest. So what I understand that in the translation, Prabhupada say Vyavasaya as adventure, and he gives an example of somebody doing business is actually an adventurist. And I don't know how Prabhupada write, but that's the situation nowadays where doing business is so hard. And the other thing, getting into more serious subject matter, is this is all actually energy of Krishna, and it is all related to the energy of Krishna that in the form of mind and intelligence. Because without that, these qualities cannot exist, what Krishna is telling about himself. That's how Krishna works. So that that's again mentioned in Canto 3 many times, that how this mind and intelligence actually, the Krishna is the presiding deity of mind and intelligence. And I remember long back, Amrishwar gave a very nice class onto this, where we understood that false ego in the mode of goodness, which is 11th sense, the mind whose presiding deity is Aniruddha. And secondly, false ego in the mode of passion comes intelligence, whose presiding deity is Pradyumna. So when presiding deity is Aniruddha and passion, Aniruddha and Pradyumna, who can defeat them? If Krishna really wants, nobody can defeat him. And that's why people who have got some quality, either they may be expert gambler, I don't know what that means, but if somebody has probably maybe Lotto, who has been 35 million, 20 million, yeah, or somebody who's got splendor and those qualities strong. So these people are actually called lucky. And that luck again come from Krishna, because without actually, and they say that it is said that it is God actually has favored them, they're really lucky. So that lucky is again coming from Krishna. When Krishna desires, these things happen. Now, splendor, Prabhupada gives example, or Krishna gives himself an example in chapter 15, verse number 12. The same word is used. Yada aditya gatam tejo jagat bhasayate akhilam yachandrashmdam yachandramashi yachagno tatejo vidhimamakam. So again, tatejo. So what is that tatejo? What is the tej? What is the splendor? The splendor of the sun, which dissipates of the darkness of this whole world, comes from me. And the splendor of the moon and the splendor of the fire are also from me. So that's how Krishna is. That's how Krishna's. We know that the sun getting energy from the bodily effulgence of Krishna. So that's again Krishna and his splendor also. And then one verse which I remember long back when we used to study this verse, which is from Ishopnisad, where some verses actually talks about Krishna's quality and Krishna's opulences, and in which that famous verse, which we all very popular verse, is Anejadekam manaso javiyo nainad deva apnuvam purumarshat tadhavato anyana tetitisthat Tasmin apumatarishva dadhati. So again, the translation is, although fixed in his abode, the personality of God is swifter than the mind and can overcome all others running. The powerful demigods cannot approach him, although in one place he controls those who supply the air and rain. He surpasses all in excellence. That I was looking in that in the translation which Prabhupada writes word to word, this sentence, he surpasses all in excellence. That's Prabhupada is writing, and he's purposefully writing for devotees to understand Krishna's opulence. When he's talking about the speed of Krishna is faster than the speed of the mind. And in the purport, in the beginning, Prabhupada clarifies this, that how this can be actually misunderstood, or how speculators cannot actually understand this concept. So Prabhupada writes, through mental speculation, even the greatest philosopher cannot know the Supreme Lord, who is absolute personality of Godhead. And Prabhupada writes, he can be known only by his devotees through his mercy. Otherwise, it is not possible. In these opulences, people can understand whatever they want to understand, and they can get probably confused and misdirected. And then in the conclusion, Prabhupada writes in the same mantra about those qualities, those opulence. So Prabhupada writes, all power is obtained from Lord. Therefore, each particular power must be utilized to execute the will of the Lord and not otherwise. The Lord can be known by one who has adopted such a submissive service attitude. This is very important sentence to focus. The Lord can be known by one who has adopted such a submissive service attitude. Perfect knowledge means knowing the Lord in all his features, knowing his potencies, and knowing how these potencies work by his will. These matters are described by the Lord in the Bhagavad Gita, the essence of all the Upanishads. So that's Prabhupada mentioning and repeating these points for people like me to understand and keep remembering and keep realizing. Thank you, Prabhu. That's my lesson. Hare Krishna.
Okay, Shobhani Mataji, now thank you.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you, Sanjeev Prabhuji and Avinash Krishna Prabhuji, for your nice realizations. So, this verse today, Dyutam Chalayatam Tejas Tejasvinamaham Jayosmi Vyavasayosmi Sattvam Sattvatamaham. Translation: I am also the gambling of cheats, and of the splendid I am the splendor. I am victory, I am adventure, and I am the strength of the strong. So again in this verse, Krishna is giving his opulences, more opulences. So as we know that Krishna is the absolute, and that's why his opulences are absolute too. And whatever we can fathom is just whatever, anything we think of the best, it's Krishna and his energies, and he excels in everything. So also when we see here that Krishna is saying that even in the cheaters category, Krishna represents here as gambling. And as we know that there are lots and different types of cheaters all over the universe. They can cheat in anything, but who is the topmost? And that is Krishna. And gambling, as Sanjeev Prabhu has very nicely explained, that it can take away everything from you. Gamblers are so addicted to it. Mostly when cheaters cheat you, you don't know that they have they do it without you knowing. They cheat you. But when a gambler is there, he is gambling, he goes there and voluntarily gets cheated. That's very interesting. Even though he knows that he might lose everything, but still voluntarily he plays, he goes for the gambling. So in the same way, if we are not using this human body in service of Krishna, then everything will be we are just it's just like we are gambling with our life, and everything will be taken away from us. So the best use is that we just use this body, this mind, and everything in service of Krishna. So Krishna, no one can, as Srila Prabhupada has already written here, that no one can surpass him in cheating, no one can surpass him in splendor, no one can surpass him in victory, no one can surpass him in enterprise, and no one can surpass him in strength. Because whatever qualities we have in ourselves, whatever we can do the best, is just because of the mercy of Krishna, and everything comes from him, because he is the Sarva Karan Karanam. And there is nothing we can be proud of, because our pride is also taken away from the energy of Krishna as the death. So if anyone becomes victorious, victory is just because of Krishna, and that victory is Krishna. It's his mercy that you can get victory or you can be defeated. So as in our 4 regulative principles, we don't gamble, but that's why a devotee does not cheat or gambles, but Krishna can, as he is his greatness is all sided. It's very, very nice sentence Prabhupada has written here. So whatever we learn, whatever we get in life, good or bad, everything is coming from Krishna. But when Krishna is doing cheating or anything else, which in our society we think it's a bad thing, but when Krishna does, it's absolute. And it's, as Sanju Prabhu has mentioned, it's for the benefit of others. But when we do, because we are in the perverted form, so it's for harming others. Adventure can be anything, but as Srila Prabhupada, I think it's the greatest adventure. No one can actually think of anything like this, what Srila Prabhupada has done in the advanced stage of his life. He went to America and established SCON. So whatever, if we are adventure we are doing for ourselves, just for the fun, it doesn't have any importance. But if if this adventure is for spreading the name of Krishna, then it has lot of value. So everything, whatever we can do in service of Krishna can have the substance, otherwise it's just useless. So that's what I realized from this verse. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for this nice class to share our realizations. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah, it's still better, but not very high.
Oh, okay. 1 moment, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, dear devotee.
Is that the best you can do on that? It's still very low. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Hare Krishna. Now it's okay.
Yeah, a bit better. Please continue.
Okay. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for giving us the opportunity to share the realization. And thank you so much, all the devotees, for your very nice realizations. Jai Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Dutam chalayatam ashmi tejas tejasvinam aham Jayo Ashmi Vya Asho Ashmi Sattvam Sattvatam Aham. So in this verse, both the words vice and virtues are mentioned as God's opulence. Gambling can be a dangerous vice that can ruin lives. As it was, we take the example of Mahabharata. It was Yudhishthir's weakness for gambling that led to Mahabharata. But the question is, if gambling is God's glory, there should not be any harm in it, and it should not be forbidden. It is because God grants his power to the soul, and along with it, he gives the freedom of choice. Like if we choose to forget him, he gives the power to forget. And this is just like an electric power to cool up and heat up the house, or it can be used to get the shock and die. It's up to the user how to utilize the power, how they are using it. Same as powerhouse is not responsible for either use or misuse of the power. The gambler too possesses intellect and ability that is supplied by the god, but he decided to misuse this god's given gift, and God is not responsible for the sinful deeds. Same as the goodness of the virtues is also manifestation of God's power. We all want victory, and it reveals the glories of Lord, and it is dependent on the quality of our determination. Instead of considering that our own achievements, considering that these are our own achievements, we should consider that and see as they are coming from God. And we are no one to take the credit of our any achievements, because it is in the seconds, our ego can ruin and all achievements. So we have to see Krishna's hand in everything. Then the burden of the ego can be easily overlapped and can feel the real nectar of Krishna's mercy on us. So there are two things in that when Krishna say, I am the gambling of the cheats and the splendor of the splendid. I am the victory of the victorious and the resolve of the resolute and the virtue of the virtuous. So it is entirely dependent. All the powers and intelligence, as we know, that is coming from Krishna. It's entirely up to us that how are we using our intelligence. We can use this intelligence, as Prabhuji said, for the gambling, but there is no surety of the victory, like of winning anything, any money or something. But if we will use our intelligence for in the bhakti, like towards the devotion service of Krishna, then there can be some, even if we are not achieving things, there can be some advancement at some stage where we can start the same thing in the next birth. So there Krishna says that how nicely it is explained that only virtues, but also the vice as his opulence. So it means that whatever is coming from Krishna is given to everyone equally, but it's entirely our own choice that how we are, where we are, whatever choice we make, whatever the way will we have, the way will be where there is a will, there is a way. So whatever will we do, whatever, if we want to, even if we can take the example of anything, like if it's a phone or a computer or anything, if we are by ourselves, only we know that what we are doing. There is nobody to see us, only we are the, we can only know that what is coming inside from us and how are we using our intelligence. So yes, it's a very nice verse to explain that how everything is coming from Krishna and how it entirely up to us that how we are using this. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, that's my realization.
Hare Krishna. Can I share my realization, Prabhuji?
Yes, please.
Yeah, sorry, I joined a little bit late and I was in and out a little bit because I was
No problem.
traveling.
If you say no and you do it, it's best. If you say you'll do it and don't do it, then it's not very good. Unless there's a reason. So don't ask. Please do. It's best.
Thank you, Amrish Prabhuji, Pagya Mataji, and Krishna Samarpan Krishna Prabhuji for organizing and giving us opportunity to share our realizations. And thank you, Sanjay Prabhuji, Avinash Prabhuji, Saraswati Mataji, Dolly Mataji for your very nice realizations. Yeah, I didn't listen all of it, but I was actually trying to focus as much as I can. And yeah, everybody actually explained the different angles of all the actually opulences described in this verse. So this is a very interesting verse because initially when I read it, actually, I thought, there is not much information available, but when you meditate on each of it, I think it leads to various different areas that we so far studied. And the first point here is saying Krishna is, I'm also the gambling of cheats. So this is also one of the opulence of the Lord. And I think devotees has already discussed this point that Krishna is being a creator of everything, and he's above all these material modes. So he's not subject to these modes of material nature. He's always transcendental. And all the qualities that we see or we have in this material world, that all originate in Krishna. So gambling being the opulence, Krishna, as Srila Prabhupada also said, that he can be a greatest, he can be more deceitful than any mere man, and even when Krishna cheats, is also transcendental. So we heard this point many times when Krishna, steal the butter, or even Krishna wanted to steal anyone. That's all transcendental. He's always been glorified, but we can't do that. And one of the regulative principle for us is no gambling. And I was meditating on that point, same point that why it is actually prohibited for us, and it is actually opulence for Krishna. So actually, I try to find some information and also try to meditate, because when we say gambling, then actually we're looking for a chance. Sanjay Prabhu also nicely explained, the habit of gambling can lead to very disastrous outcomes for anyone. And normally, people lose, mostly 99.99% by gambling. But when we think about when we're in this material world and when we say we want to gamble, so it's not just gross gambling with the money and all that, but as Amrish Prabhu says that anything, that we speculate, anything we try to actually look for a loophole or chance, then in some way we are not accepting the will of the Lord. And that's exactly what this gambling is. That's what I actually realized. And even actually when we are born in this material world, the birth, age, old and disease. So we cannot gamble with actually birth as well. There's no chance. It all happens according to the will of the Lord. We cannot gamble with the death. There is no loophole. Nobody can actually escape. And neither we cannot gamble with the old age. We cannot stop it. So when you think about all these points, then we realize that why actually is prohibited for us, the gambling, the speculative nature, because we are always looking for a chance. We do not want to put any effort. We do not want to actually do anything, but we just try to find out, is there a loophole that I can get benefited by doing nothing? Is there a chance that we can actually escape the laws of material nature? So that is actually what gambling is, and maybe that's what I think is been prohibited. The next point is actually where he says that I am the splendor of the splendid, or I am the adventure. So I was also actually thinking on this point that that actually all the mystical things, or the adventurous things, that we also want to do many things in material world. We want to do bungee jumping, we want to go for trekking, and so on. We try to be very adventurous, and we try to actually derive the pleasure out of it. But actually, when I was thinking that there is no one, as you know, a lot of devotees says that there's no greater adventure than Krishna, and there is no one mystical also than Krishna. Actually, there was a verse actually Amrishpur recently shared in beginner's class, the chapter 11, verse 7, where Krishna says, "Whatever you see, whatever you wish to see, can be seen all at once in this body. This universal form can show you all that you now desire, as well as whatever you may desire in the future. Everything is here completely." So when you read this verse, and when you meditate on this universal form, that this form has never been seen by anyone, and everything is there, past, present, future. So there is nothing, actually splendid or actually adventurous than this. I was actually meditating on this point, and this verse actually is really, I found it very relevant here, that why actually Krishna says that he is the adventure, because you will not find anything greater adventure than this. Also, going back to actually the verse where he says that he is the victory. So when we think about victory, in this material world, that everybody want to be victorious, and we are very working hard. We want to actually earn more money. We want to actually gain many things. Even be it the study or job or business, or even just going around the world traveling and doing adventurous things. Everyone want to be victorious. Everyone, but in this material world, what we realize that even if we actually manage to achieve any feat, what you can say, the pleasure or the happiness of actually achieving that doesn't last very long. It's always a temporary. As Srila Prabhupada always says that this material world is temporary, and even if we experience any happiness, that is always going to be temporary. It's not going to last very long. But the real victory is what we realize so far, is actually achieving the mercy of the Krishna. And actually that reminded me of the Srimad Bhagavatam verse in Canto 1, Chapter 2, verse 20 and 29, where it is said that Vasudeva Paraveda, Vasudeva Paramakha, Vasudeva Parayoga, Vasudeva Parakriya, Vasudeva Param Jnanam, Vasudeva Param Tapah, Vasudeva Paro Dharma, Vasudeva Paragati. Where it says in the revealed scriptures, the ultimate object of knowledge is Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead. The purpose of performing sacrifice is to please him. Yoga is for realizing him. All the fruitive activities are ultimately rewarded by him only. He is the supreme knowledge, and all austerities, all severe austerities are performed to know him. Religion, dharma, is rendering loving service unto him. He is the supreme goal of life. So this verse, actually summarize everything. Actually, when you actually study this verse and try to meditate on all these points that are mentioned here, then we realize that actually Krishna is the real goal of life, and we fail to understand that. Because we're so much attached to these materialistic activities that we do not see this real goal. And even, we have actually, I have actually begin on this path, and we try to actually do some service or study and try to realize some points from Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. Even if we actually realize, even little bit, minute things, still we feel very satisfied and happy, but by doing actually material things, actually, even if you actually earn $1 billion, still people are not very much satisfied. They always feel vacant in their life. They're always looking for something, because maybe they probably miss this point. That's actually a real goal of life. So if you achieve the mercy of Krishna or the representative of Krishna, then actually that is actually a real victory. And that's why actually that's how actually I realized this point, that Krishna is saying that he's the victory. And where the last point where he says that I'm the strength of the strong. So this point actually already came before, when we studied, where he says that he's the ability in a man. So any ability or skill that we got, that actually also originate from Krishna, So when we actually work very hard to achieve, anything, we want to be very strong by, physical strength, or we want to be very intelligent or knowledgeable, by actually studying or actually, doing hard work. Then Krishna always, gives that ability. Yeah, Srila Prabhupada actually he said that when we actually try very hard, when we desire any particular thing, very much, then Paramatma in your heart, Krishna is actually seeing this, and when he sees this actually intense desire, he always fulfills it. So whatever we actually so far have achieved, whatever the things that we got, it's all actually mercy of the Krishna. We may have it actually as a result of our past, lives, maybe pious activities, or maybe we have worked very hard in this life. So ultimately, is actually Krishna is the cause of all causes. So, and one of his opulence is also, actually he has all the strength. Nobody can actually surpass Krishna. Where even Avinash Prabhu actually mentioned that verse. I was also actually meditating on that Ishobnishad verse where it says that actually Anijat ekam manaso javiyo nainad deva apanuvam purvam arishad tadhavato nyan atayeshtitishta tasmin apo mat rishvada dati, where it says that actually he surpassed all in excellence. So actually Krishna actually possesses all the opulence. There is no one greater or equal to him in this actually entire creation. So yeah, he's the actually ultimate goal of life. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, devotees. Thank you very much for your wonderful realizations as usual. Jitam salam bhutam vismi tejas tejasvi jayo smi sarvasmi satyam satyavatam. Translation of Shri Prabhupada. I'm also the gambling of shades, and the splendid and the splendid. I'm victory, the adventure, and I'm the strength of this. So, in the purport about that, as mentioned by the ladies, has said that if Krishna chooses to deceive a person, no one can surpass him when he is deceived. His greatness is not simply one-sided; it is all-sided. And this is the first point in this that came to my mind, was that everything that relates to Krishna is pure. Whether it is cheating, all the qualities come from Krishna, even the negative qualities, like the name Madhusudan, so Madhu Dvesa, which we had heard from Madhu Dvesa Prabhu in his realizations that Krishna can be envious also. So of the demon Madhu. So that's how the name comes. The principle, the underlying principle, as I understand, is that when anything is Krishna, is that it is pure. Then there's no measure, and that's why he is a supreme personality of God. All these judgments analysis and, the right and the wrong, that all applies to us. When I was meditating upon this cheating propensity, I was thinking, it's mentioned that gambling, is the biggest form of cheating. I was meditating, and the thought that came to my mind first was that actually the biggest cheating that we can do is when we cheat our own self. We all are cheaters. There's no question about that. As Shri Shobhin said, we have we remember the four types of mistakes, four types of doshas that we have. So the propensity to make mistakes, that we are in illusion and cheating, we have the propensity to cheat, and our senses are imperfect. So as a take on the cheating, we also have seen, Srila Prabhupada has mentioned this in one of the, I think, lectures there about this point. I think Sanjay Prabhu mentioned this point, that how Krishna, how Dronacharya was by the false information of Ashwatthama, and that was Krishna. That's but because of Krishna, the purpose is to establish the understanding that we have. So, when I was meditating upon this point, I felt that everywhere, whether we accept it or we don't, either we are cheated or we cheat. But the biggest cheating that we do and we should avoid doing is cheating ourselves, because that's where I think we lose. And by that, what I mean is, Srila Prabhupada has written Bhagavad Gita as this. After how many versions of Bhagavad Gita were written in this world? And the name of that is As It Is. And we should, whether it is taking instructions from your spiritual master, whether it is understanding of what the other person is trying to say, whether it is your day-to-day activity. I've witnessed so many times that we want to accept what is very palatable to us. It's very hard for us to accept the truth. It's very hard for us to accept the truth, because most of the times truth is very bitter. And so by doing that, then we just try to twist the truth to our convenience, the instructions. And when we do that, we are cheating ourselves, because we have to convince ourselves first that what we are doing, what instruction has been given and what is the instruction that I am understanding are two different things. And whether the world may see what we are doing or not, it really is irrelevant. Because at the time of death, the world is not going to come and judge us. So I think that it's a very, very subtle enviousness and subtle kind of ego that one should try to avoid, because the biggest loser in that is our own self. We are not taking the instructions as it is. We are not understanding the message as it is, because it doesn't suit us and it's not practical. So I think that this is a very important realization, very close to my heart, because when you actually accept the truth as it is, and when you don't cheat yourself, then you may be in a very difficult position, and you may probably be standing alone. But you will come out successfully in terms of pleasing Guru and Krishna. So I think this is very important realization for myself. I just want to also mention about the other points where Krishna says, I'm the splendor of the splendor. I'm victory, I'm adventure, and I'm strength of the strong. And when I was reading Strength of the Strong, I immediately remember this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 15, verse 21. Where this is when Lord Krishna has left planet Earth, and Arjuna is returning back, and it's a conversation between him and Yudhishthira Maharaj. And at that time, he mentions that, one of the points that is mentioned there is about Arjuna's Gandiva blow, that the opulence of the Gandhi is mentioned here in many other points, but Arjun says that it's the same chariot and it's the same Gandiva, but because Lord Krishna is not present, it doesn't have its strength anymore. It doesn't have the opulence anymore. And this is, when I remember this when I was reading, because Arjuna was known to be the best Dhanurdan. And we all know that the victory in the battle of Kurukshetra was because Krishna was there with Arjuna. And the realization of Arjuna is very, very important, because when you're in a position where everybody is everybody's looking up to you, and you are holding a position where you can easily again get cheat yourself by saying this is all me, this is because of me that everything is happening, and not give the credit to actually Krishna, because of whom we have the strength. So I felt that it's easy for us maybe if we don't hold so much positions or things to give credit to Krishna, but this is something that we can learn from Arjun, that being at what position he was, he realized that everything that he had came from Krishna. And then also Srila Prabhupada mentions that there was no age limit for Krishna's opulence or his strength. Even at the age of 7, he lifted the Govardhan Parvat. And who could do that? So, for me, the realization here is having that firm conviction that anything that relates to Krishna is always pure. And this second point about that, the biggest cheating that we should avoid doing is to our honesty. Hare Krishna.
Okay, Hare Krishna, your notice. I think that today we had a good session. The time up now, beyond the time now, so we should stop here. So, Krishna willing, we'll see you next Christian place in time. Hare Krishna. So, Bhagavad Gita has a ki jai. Granthrat Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Jai.
Charitamrita ki jai.
Jai.
Srila Gurudev ki jai.
Jai.
What towards remains, translations and purpose of the Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Inside God should be
Hare
Hare
Hare Hare.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.